Right, hello, this is the 9th video in the additional information playlist on QGIS, and this is the first video to which is not part of the original 8 that I added. The reason I'm adding this is first to clarify a mistake that I made in my initial video, which was that when you make a map in QGIS, it has to do with the way that the no data color is set up, because I was wrong about when you load it in. And I'll explain that to you later. And then I also want to explain a better way of getting the map into a video format, because the way I had it, you can see it's very laggy and it's also not high quality because, you know, we just recorded it from our browsers. So I'm going to do that different this time. But first of all, for this, I'm going to be using the same thing that I used here, which is the 2024 presidential election in New York City. I already have the data, and this time it's a GeoJSON, not a shapefile, but for our purposes, it works basically the same as a shapefile. So I already have those. I'm not going to go over how I got that or how I formatted it. That's just, you know, something that you could figure out from the QGIS Selection Map Tutorial 2.0. The main purpose of this video is just to clarify some stuff about the 3D map making. So we're just going to open QGIS really quickly, and once that loads, I'm going to quickly join this and then explain to you the error that I made. Alright, that took a while to load. Let's just drag these in now. Alright, and then I'm just going to project this to New York. And then I'm going to go to Properties, and then Joins, and then just join that really quickly. Now, last time if you remember, I told you that if you just changed the default color like how you would do for normal QGIS maps, if you just changed this, that would apply as your no data color for when you were making the map in QGIS to 3GIS, but that's actually not the case. You will see that it displays the no data color for you by default when you are in the plugin as whatever you have selected, but when you actually apply the ramp color formula, any precincts that don't have any data associated with them, they are going to end up just becoming black. As you can see in this map, you can see, you know, those islands in Queens, the northeast Bronx, you know, Rikers Island and some other areas. Oh wait, no, not Rikers Island. I guess LaGuardia Airport though, and also no, not JFK. But yeah, you can see those areas, they're black on the map instead of what the no data color that I typically use is. But there is a way that we can still get that no data color. So basically what you're going to want to do is, first of all, if you have the data and you got it from a shapefile where you can just filter out and find the no data colors, as in the data and the shapefile were together, such as with the voting and election science team, you can just filter out for div zeros and then use those precincts. But for this shapefile, since that is not the case and it was separate, we're going to have to go into the attribute table, then scroll all the way to the right to our PCT field, and then we're going to be looking for div zeros or null fields, because those are the fields that are going to be colored in black. So if you click on NY Final Sheet 1 PCT, you'll see that it filters everything. And then what we can do, first of all, is select all the null precincts. So I'm just going to scroll down here, 172, which is where the last null precinct is. I'm going to control click 172. And while holding control, I'm going to drag up to number 1. And now that has all the null precincts selected. And then what we can do is we can scroll down again. Between, yeah, right there. And now we can see the div zeros, and then we can just select all of these as well. And and deselect those two. And then we can show selected features. And then I am wondering if we export, we can go to save selected features, and then we can go to map folder, and then I'll just save these as no data. Okay, this is my first time doing this, by the way. I just figured it would be pretty intuitive, so that's why I was a little bit confused when I was looking at that. But yeah, so now we have the no data precincts, and then I'm just going to open this. And then what we can do is for PCT field, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do control down, and then we can go all the way here because that's the PCT field, and then we can do J2 colon in that top left box, and then up here we can type, you know, it doesn't matter, 0 control enter, and then I'll just save this. And then what we can do is we can drag that in as well with our NY final data. And then I'll also join that. Just properties, joins, plus, and apply. Great. And then if we go to our open attribute table, if we scroll here, yeah, we can see we have a NY final no data field. So that's for our no data. And then that one is for our NY underscore final, which is what has the actual, oh wait, no, that's also, I think it's more to the right, but whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to unselect these, and I guess I'll uncheck the map, and then I'll go into QGIS to 3GIS. And then, now what we can do, we'll have to color the ramp color slightly differently. If you remember my earlier video, how I colored, like changing only one color on the thing, that's basically what we're going to do here. So I am going to go to color by expression. Nope. And then we're going to type in if, and then we can go under fields and values. And then if our no data PCT field is equal to 0, because if we remember, that's what we set all of the no data and div 0 ones to. So if they're all 0, then what we can do is we can do 808080. Because if you remember from the, actually, would it be hashtag? I think it's hashtag. Yeah, hopefully that syntax is not correct. I mean, we'll see soon enough. But if you remember from my earlier video, that's how you would do it for hex colors. So we're going to do it for that. And then if that's not the case, then we're just going to color it in as we usually do. So we'll do the full color, scale linear, and then we need the NY final PCT, space, -1, 1, 0, 1, 2 closing parentheses, and then 1 for the if statement. And then if we press apply, we will hopefully see it colored in with all the no data in, yeah, gray, which is exactly what I wanted. And then, yeah, just gonna wait for this flow to load. Okay, great. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to change it to extruded, and we'll do the height formula now, which, as I have mentioned in video 7, was just gonna be total divided by dollars area times some multiplier. Let's see if that one's good. Yeah, that looks fine. We'll see if we need to expand it more. I don't think we do. I think that's the same multiplier I used for the last one, but we'll see. Yeah, pretty sure this is the exact same multiplier. Okay, great. I'm also going to select this. Oops, double click. Yeah, all features. And also, I'm going to check export attributes. This is just something I want to show you, but this is another thing I wanted to show, by the way, because that's useful when you are saving to the web. I'm just going to wait for this to load. But you're going to want to check that export attributes thing if you want those attributes when you're exporting to the web. So I'm actually going to do that really quickly because there's actually another thing I wanted to show. I'll export this to downloads. And you know what? I'll create a new folder for this. New folder, and we'll just do it website. And then I'll just go into there, select folder, and then just gonna make sure enable to run locally, 3D with GUI, animation, export. Okay. And then once this loads, I'll just show you what I want to show you. Okay. Downloads, website, index. And actually, I don't even know why I exported with the animation turned on, because it's not even what I'm using here. Oh, I forgot to add an animation, so there isn't even one. Okay. So what I just wanted to show you is if you ever click on one of these precincts, you can see right there. So first of all, we wouldn't have gotten any of these column data here if we didn't click export attributes. So that's just something I wanted to show you. And then also, obviously, that you can just click on these precincts and it'll just tell you all of this data. So you can imagine how this would be really useful if you wanted to neatly sort your spreadsheet so that you can have like truck level totes, Harrisville roads, etc. And then you can just view them on here on the website. But yeah, that's a useful thing to do. But you know, if you don't want to export attributes, you don't have to. But yeah, it's useful for the website. So that's something I wanted to show you with the export attributes. And then the next thing, which is the really important thing, is how to make this much nicer than it appears to be on here. Because if you see, like, I mean, it's a really low quality video when you're just recording from your browser. Whereas this method that I'm gonna show you in this video, it's much smoother. Also with the lighting, it's nicer. I mean, it kind of makes it hard to see some of the closer precincts. But you can, of course, change that lighting if you want, or just like disable it altogether. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So first of all, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to File, Save Scene As, and then GITF. This is like a 3D file. I think I already did this earlier. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it again because I did it without changing the node data colors to gray. So I'm just going to save this to downloads. You can see I already did NYC GLTF earlier. That was the one I did. So I'm just going to do NYC video since that's for this video. And that's going to be a really large file size, but that's okay. Let's see. Yeah. I wonder why it's smaller than that one. That's interesting. Okay. Oh, and it. Oh wait, no, they're the exact same. I was looking at this untitled thing. Okay. Great. So we have that, and then what we can do now is we can close out a QGIS, and you're going to want to. Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening. Okay, great. It's gone. Next, what you're going to want to do is install software called Blender. You might have heard of it. It's very useful for animation, and it's going to be very useful for us to make this much nicer than it is. So first of all, when you open Blender, this window pops up. You can just press Escape. Your window might be different, but whatever. Then you'll see it auto has this cube selected. Whenever there's an orange outline around it, that means it's selected. So I'm just going to press delete to get rid of that. You also see this camera over here. I just clicked on that. I'm going to press delete on that. And this light up here, I'm also going to press delete on that. Next, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to drag in our GLTF file. So I'm just going to drag this in here and then press import. And this is going to take a while. All right, so now that that window popped out, the file is actually in here, but you may be wondering, I mean, we can't see it at all. And the reason for that is, if you remember that cube, I believe its dimensions were like either 1 meter by 1 meter or 10 meters by 10 meters. The file that we imported, it's like 2 real life size, so it's like, I mean, literally each individual precinct is like massive compared to that cube. But there is a way to shrink it so that it is within our view. If you move your mouse cursor to like a little bit, not outside of the screen, but towards the edge of it, and press S, you'll see that there's that double arrow that pops up. And then if you drag that closer to the origin, and you can see if you press click, you can now see in the top left the outline of it a little bit. You're going to obviously have to scale a few more times though, so I'm going to move my cursor to the outside again, press S, and then drag towards the middle, and you can see it get smaller. Drag to the outside again, press S, drag to the middle, click, drag to the outside again, press S, drag to the middle, click, and make sure not to drag it beyond the origin because I think that might flip it then. So again, outside, drag to the middle, click, and I'll just shrink it a little bit more, and now you can see we have New York City here. Before you deselect this though, important thing to do, just makes it easier to deal with this layer. Hold M and then click New Collection. And I'll just name this NYC. This just makes it easier to select it later on, because then if you ever want to click off of it, like that, you can just select the whole thing by right-clicking on this thing and then clicking Select Objects, and that just selects all of them. And then, oh, by the way, another thing to note about Blender, if you want to like move, rotate around the origin, you can use middle click. That allows you to rotate. And then you can also use Shift middle click to like pan the screen around. Sort of like how you use right click in QGIS to 3GIS. I'm not going to do that though. But next thing that we're going to want to do, I'm first going to click off of this. We are going to want to. I'm going to do Shift A, and we're going to add a camera. And you know what, I'm also going to press N and just click View really quickly. And then what you're going to want to do is press 0 on the number pad key. It brings you to the camera. And then also, the reason we open this panel on the left with the N, you're going to want to click Lock Camera to View. That way, when we are animating this, we can, yeah, as it says, Lock Camera to View. So I think that this is pretty good. The thing is, if we zoom out, you can see that's kind of a little bit too far zoomed out. We're not going to want it that far. Actually, does that look good? I can't really tell. But basically, if you wanted to change it, you know what, I actually think that looks good. So if you wanted to change like the scale on it again, you can see the camera, it kind of like snaps to these, like it snaps to very specific dimensions. So if it's like, you know, a little outside of what you want, you're going to have to, I'll show you. But actually, before we do that, I just want to check to make sure that this map is fully within inside the camera frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press R. Actually, no, not yet. Don't press R. Oh, nope. Yeah, that's why we don't press R. Oh, and I accidentally made the camera inside the selection. Can I move that out? No, I can't. So what we're actually going to have to do then is I'm going to have to delete the camera. And then I'm going to do Shift A, camera, because, okay, why is it making it inside this? Okay, maybe if I click on this and then Shift A, camera. Okay, great. And then I'm just going to do what I did earlier. Camera's already locked to view. So that's good. Then I'm just going to press 0 to leave it right there. Then what I'm going to do is right click on the NYC selection, select objects, and I'm just going to use the scale button again just to get it fully into the camera frame. There. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press 0 again, and I'm going to press R, and I'm going to press Z. That rotates it around the Z axis. And then what you're just going to want to make sure is that when you're rotating it, none of it goes outside of the camera frame, which it looks like it's the case. So then what you can do is you can just press escape. So now that we have it exactly where we want it, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set up keyframes. And basically the way we can do that is at the bottom here. If you hover over, I don't think you can see my mouse, but if you hover over between like the division of like this middle frame and the bottom bar where there's like that play button, if you hover over that, you'll see like an up arrow, down arrow cursor thing. You're going to want to right click and then click horizontal split. And then you can just drag this to wherever, and then just press click. And I'll drag this up a little more. And then over here, over this thing, you're going to like click this. and you're going to want to click timeline. And this is how we're going to set up keyframes to animate this. So first, what we're going to want to do is we're also going to want to toggle this thing, auto keying. And basically that just makes it so that we can easily set up keyframes. And now what I'm going to do just to set this up, the thing is so first let's set up our first keyframe. So I'm going to RZ, and I'm just going to, I think I'm going to try to move the camera actually. So I'm going to press 0 because I just want to, oops, nope, 0. Camera to view, camera to view. Okay, and I just want to make this aligned with that axis. Then what I'm going to just do is I'm going to drag this somewhere random, RZ 180, and then I'm going to delete this keyframe, delete keyframes. Then I'm going to drag it to 1, RZ 180. And I just did that so I can have that beginning keyframe. And then I'm going to drag this to the end, and I'm going to do RZ, and then we're going to type 360. And then if we do that and we press play, okay, I guess I didn't set up the keyframe. You know what? Easier way to do this, drag to the middle, 125. We can see there's 250 keyframes total. 250 keyframes total. So we're going to do RZ Z 180. By the way, it's only, it's rotating around the z-axis when the blue line is highlighted. So yeah, 180. Let me just make sure that's going clockwise. Yes, it is. And then at the end, we can do RZ 180 again. And then if we play this, you can see that it's rotating clockwise. One thing you will notice though is, oh wait, actually I think it is going linearly because I changed it beforehand. But previously it wasn't. One thing you want to note though, I think by default you might not see that it's going like linearly. Like you'll see that it like maybe starts very slow and speeds up and slows down and speeds up and slows down. If it does that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to right click on your keyframes, go to interpolation mode, and click linear. And you're just going to want to do that. You're just going to want to do that with all of your keyframes, just to make sure that everything is moving linearly. But it looks like it already is here. And yeah, that all looks good. Next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Edit, and then you're going to want to go to Preferences. And then I already have it selected. You can see there's this whole panel thing here, but you're going to want to select add-ons. And then if you don't have the add-on Dynamic Sky, you can type it up here. I have it installed, but if you do not see it as an option here, which I think in the more modern versions of Blender, they don't have it, there is still a way to get it. So what you're going to want to do, I'm going to link this in the comments, but there's this thing, Dynamic Sky Extensions. You're going to want to download this, where it says download right down here. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go here into Blender, and then you're going to want to click this down arrow in the top right, and then click install from disk, and then you're going to upload that file for Dynamic Sky, and then make sure you have the checkbox when you have that set up. So now we're going to create a Dynamic Sky. You can see in this menu that we brought up, we're on the View tab right now. This is from the thing when we pressed N earlier. So you're going to now want to click on Create, and then down arrow on Dynamic Sky, and press Create. And now if we go to World, and then we change World to Dynamic, we can see we now have access to this panel. I really don't change any of these things ever, except for brightness. Brightness, I think, can sometimes mess with the ability to differentiate between like light blue and light red precincts. So I'm going to change that down to 0.5, and then what you would do to render it, first of all, render engine, 100% set this to Eevee. If you set this to cycles, it's going to look better, but it's going to take you way, way longer. So you're going to want to set that to Eevee. I think the samples here are honestly fine. And then what else is there? Yeah, here's frame rate stuff. If you're rendering as images, which is what I'm going to show you, that's not going to matter. But then over here, you can set a file directory. If you want to go to downloads, I would recommend creating a new folder and saving your images to there. And file format PNG is what I used. Yeah, I'd recommend that, and I'll explain later. Well, actually, I'll explain now. Basically, if you save this as a video instead, like if you save this as a FFmpeg video, like say your program crashes in the middle of it, you're not going to get any of that video. Whereas if you save as PNGs, it's saving a PNG for every frame. That way, if it ever crashes, first of all, you have a bunch of PNGs saved. Second of all, since they number the PNGs for you based on the frame, you'll know which frame to start at, and you can basically just change the frame start here then to whatever frame, like the frame after the one that you ended on. So that way, it's much better for you. And then whenever you're done with this, what you're going to want to do is you can go to render, and then you can render animation. I'm not going to do that though, because I already have some example images that I'm going to use, but I can show you what it looks like by rendering one image. I'm just going to do this, just to make sure that everything turned out all right and everything. This does take a little bit of time. It's definitely much less time though than it would take if you were using cycles though. But yeah, you can see here is an image that I generated, and the top it gives you the time. So it looks like it took like around 13 seconds for this image to be rendered, which is not that bad compared to when you're doing it with cycles. When I tried doing this for cycles, literally one frame took me over 10 minutes. So don't use cycles. Don't use cycles, at least for this. For other things, it might be good, but for things like this where you have like who knows how many shapes, you don't want to be using cycles. Use Eevee. But yeah, and once you're done, you will get a product that looks something like this, with all these images. And you may be wondering now how you make this into a video that you can upload as like a GIF or something. And basically the way you can do that is you can do it with an editing software. Like I mentioned in part 7, I use Kdenlive. It's a free editing software, and it also makes it very easy to transform images into a video. So basically what we're going to do, I'm not going to render the old one. I'm just going to show you how I did it with this one, because rendering that old one, it's going to take a few minutes, and I don't really want to be doing that right now. So add image sequence. I already have this path set by default, but if you want to change it, you can click this and choose a path. Image type PNG, remember that's the image type we're using, and then frame duration is the last important thing. You can see here it says HHMMSSFF, or frames. Ooh, I didn't even know we had this. Oh yeah, that's actually probably better because of the frames per second, but I use this. You can also set the frames per second in that. I'm actually going to show you how to do that now because I just found that out. Yeah, but you can drag this here, and then what you can do is you can go to project, render. This doesn't take that long to render, so I'll do this. I am going to set a different destination for this. I'll set it to the map folder as test.mp4, and then I'm going to render this. After this, I'm going to show you how to change the frames per second on this though, because if you do 1 frame per frame, that makes this much easier to manipulate. Because with this, it's not as easy. Okay, and then we can go to map folder, and we can open this. And I mean, I literally made this video earlier, so it'll be fine. Yep, looks good. That's exactly how it should look. Oh, oops. Okay, X. And yeah, last thing I'm going to show you now that I know you can actually do 1 frame per image, what you can do is you can go to File, New, and then you'll see over here there's the option to select how many frames per second you want. So you can do 60, 59.94, 50, 30, or whatever. And yeah, that's how you would set frames per second. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. Yeah.